Hey everyone, in this video we are going to cover 5 of the most walkable neighborhoods in Indianapolis, and they all have different features, different personalities, different pros. Some are for some people and the same ones are probably not for somebody else. So we're going to go through those 5 in this video, so stay tuned. Hey everybody, I'm Jason Compton with the Compton Home Group. Welcome back to the channel. If it's your first time here to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about Indianapolis or the entire surrounding metro, what's walkable, what isn't, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and tap the little bell so you're notified every time we do a new video each and every week. Now we get reach outs from people all over the Indy metro and all over the country with all kinds of very specific questions about walkable neighborhoods, non-walkable neighborhoods, or any place else in Indy or the suburbs. So if you have questions about anything at all in general with the Indianapolis Metro, then make sure that you reach out any way you know how, and we've got your back with those questions, and we'll absolutely have your back when you're making your move within or to Indianapolis. So this video, we're going to cover 5 neighborhoods that are very, very walkable. Now, they aren't the only walkable neighborhoods in Indianapolis, and in fact, when you get outside of Indianapolis and into the suburbs, there are some very walkable suburbs too. Now, it wouldn't be the entire suburb, just like the entire city of Indianapolis. There's no way it's all walkable, but there are certain areas, certain specific neighborhoods and parts of those neighborhoods that are extremely pedestrian friendly, very walkable, and if you live in those areas, then you can walk or bike to almost anything that you need. But then, of course, if you live nearby, you can always drive to those or bike to those neighborhoods and then take advantage of everything that is walkable once you've parked your car or locked your bike up, whatever it is. So we're going to go through those 5 right now. So number 1, and this would probably be fairly obvious, but it'd be downtown Indianapolis. And downtown Indianapolis is made up of some different parts. You've got different cultural districts right in downtown Indianapolis, but generally, specifically downtown would really be 2 places. You've got Miles Square and the Wholesale District. But just off of that, I mean just barely off of that, you've got some other pretty walkable spots too. But really all of that is really within a mile. So a mile radius. And that is unbelievable. So you can ride your bike through downtown Indianapolis, you can ride a scooter through downtown Indianapolis, and of course you can walk, and you can drive to it, park, and then walk just about everywhere. Indianapolis has a great reputation for its downtown area. It's generally very safe. Of course, you have different instances here and there where I've heard things that maybe aren't so good, but generally speaking, it is very, very safe. There are always lots of people in downtown throughout the entire year, day and night, and that's because it is so walkable and so many things are so accessible. So you've got tons of restaurants, of course, in downtown Indianapolis, and tons of hotels, so there's lots of tourism. A lot of people come into Indy, stay downtown, and take advantage of a lot of what's going on down there. But places like St. Elmo's, which is definitely famous across the entire country. If you come to Indianapolis, it's one of the places that you probably really need to go. Unbelievable steakhouse, and there's constantly restaurants going in and out of Indianapolis, and some of the best chefs in the Indy area are in some of these neighborhoods that we're talking about here today, but also certainly downtown. You've got Lucas Oil Stadium where the Colts play, and concerts are also happening from time to time too. You've got Bankers Life Fieldhouse, exactly the same thing, concerts there, but the Fever and the Pacers play there. And then of course we have the Big Ten tournament, all kinds of other things happen there too. Both of them within walking distance of each other, which is insane. And then Victory Field, where the Indianapolis Indians play, that's a AAA team for the Pittsburgh Pirates. That is a fantastic, unbelievable ballpark. It's one of the best in the country. It's been voted best in the country more than once for seeing a baseball game just because of the setting, just being right there in downtown Indianapolis. You got White River State Park right next to it, and plenty of other things in the vicinity, walking distance. Unbelievable. It's so, so cool downtown Indianapolis. So easily one of the most walkable neighborhoods. But as far as living downtown Indy, your options, I wouldn't say are limited in necessarily numbers. You're always going to have something to choose from for the most part in a lot of places downtown, but it's all going to be vertical. You have mostly townhomes and condos, not a lot of single family homes in that area. It's just not conducive for it at all. So you have to be okay with that if you're living in downtown Indianapolis, but great place for sure, great neighborhood. Now, number 2 on the list, and as we go through this list, they're all going to have a little bit of a different personality. So downtown Indianapolis, very, very city. Number 2 is Broad Ripple and Broad Ripple Village. Broad Ripple has a more bohemian type of vibe to it. I wouldn't say it's completely all out, but that's definitely the feel for Broad Ripple. It's more established, it's a little bit more residential, but when you get into Broad Ripple Village, lots and lots of really good restaurants there, and Broad Ripple is also one of the places for some of the best nightlife in Indianapolis. Now, it doesn't mean if you don't like nightlife, where we're talking about bars and things like that, that you're not gonna like Broad Ripple, because that's not necessarily the case. So it's just a place where you can find the nightlife if you really want it. But if you want great restaurants, you want really cool bars, you want breweries, and you want that walkability and even bikeability, Broad Ripple is a great place. The Monon Trail goes through Broad Ripple, which certainly helps it. So if you live in Broad Ripple, it's easy to use the Monon Trail to go north and south. But if you live pretty far north in Indianapolis, or even further south, even all the way to downtown, you can take the Monon Trail and go right up to Broad Ripple. So really cool place. So Broad Ripple is going to have a variety of places to live. So you've got condos and townhomes, but you also have single family detached homes. And a lot of the homes can be pretty expensive in the Broad Ripple area, and sometimes the homes are older and they need a lot of work. And not very big sometimes too. You can have 2-bedroom, 1-bath homes that are maybe 1,000, 1,100 square feet. So definitely not very big, and they can be a little bit expensive, even if they do need a lot of work, but the renovated ones are certainly gonna be more expensive. But the townhomes and condos, they can be a little bit more reasonable, even for their location. So $300,000, $350,000 can get you a reasonable sized townhome. Now, it might sound like a lot for Indianapolis, but for the location, that's actually a pretty incredible price. You can get that same townhome for much cheaper in other parts of Indianapolis, but this is Broad Ripple. It's very famous in Indianapolis for its restaurants, for its bars, for just the entire scene and things to do. So the prices are always going to be hiked up just because of that. But Broad Ripple is a great place for people to go bike to, drive to, park, walk, to so many different things to do. So number 3 on the list, another place with a totally different vibe than downtown or Broad Ripple. We move over kind of to the east side, east of downtown, and it's Fountain Square. So the overall vibe that I would say Fountain Square has is kind of hipster, and it's an up-and-coming neighborhood. It's actually a really cool place. Has some of the best restaurants in Indianapolis, certainly a couple of the most popular or the most well-known, but lots of cool little shops and bars in that particular area, but has that hipster vibe. So a lot of really great live music in Fountain Square. You also have vinyl shops where you can get vinyl records, comics, things like that. A lot of shops that are in that particular category and vein. Now, Fountain Square is up and coming, so you can still get into Fountain Square at a reasonable price, but the home is probably going to need a tremendous amount of work, a heck of a lot of work. It's actually a neighborhood that was in complete disarray several decades ago, and a really, really rough and bad place, but has since kind of gone through a revival. So a lot of the newer homes in there, and that's newer, where they've gone in and taken that very, very old rundown home and leveled it and put a new one right on top of it. Very small yards, and the homes are extremely vertical there, but they are ultra contemporary in most cases and pretty expensive. We're talking $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, sometimes more than that. But really cool, really unique feel, really cool, unique homes, and an extremely popular, very walkable neighborhood. So number 4 on the list for walkability, if you want a little more maturity and a little bit more of a reputation for maturity, you've got Meridian Kessler. Meridian Kessler has some of the coolest homes in all of Indianapolis. We're talking 100-year-old homes, but anywhere you go in Meridian Kessler, for the most part, those 100-year-old homes, I wouldn't say they're all in fantastic shape, but a lot of them have gone through some kind of rehabilitation, at least in the past 50 years. They've been pretty well maintained. And Meridian Kessler is a neighborhood, when Indianapolis was growing many, many years ago, it's a place where people went and built custom homes and it was considered part of the suburbs to get out of the city. So a lot of serious differences and character all through Meridian Kessler, and you can find the same thing as far as its restaurants are concerned. Some of the best restaurants in Indianapolis are located in that neighborhood of Meridian Kessler. Some of my favorite places, my wife's favorite places, like Delicia, Ambrosia, Meridian Restaurant. You've also got Napoli's, which is one of the coolest little spots and has some of the most unbelievable pizza that you'll ever have in your life. And it's a lot of times hard to get differences in pizza, but Napoli's has it down. They have fantastic pizza, but also other really great food in there too. Also plenty of bars and breweries like Scarlet Lane Brewery, the Aristocrat, 20 Tap, Upland Brewery. I mean, they're just stocked all through there. And the neat thing about Meridian Kessler is that it has a very residential feel, and then you have these little pockets here and there of restaurants and small shops. So they're kind of spread out through the whole neighborhood, but it's not that bad to walk from one side of the neighborhood to the other for the most part, unless you're talking about the extremes, the far north side to the far south side. That's going to be quite a walk. But if you live near some of these little pockets of restaurants, it's fantastic. It's all very shaded, tons of old mature trees, just a really great residential, super mature feel all through Meridian Kessler. Now that brings us to our last neighborhood. So if we're talking about maturity, Meridian Kessler, very nice homes, but also a lot of them are really quite large, actually really big homes. But if you want a little more maturity and you want a little bit more of that older feel, and if it's a 100-year-old home, you kind of want to preserve that 100-year-old feel. And also you want to be closer to downtown Indianapolis. There are a couple neighborhoods that I kind of group into this fifth one because they both run along Massachusetts Avenue, or Mass Ave, which is definitely one of the hubs for culture in Indianapolis. Lots of clubs, lots of bars, lots and lots of restaurants, and little theaters. It's just a unique place with lots of diversity as well. You've got Chatham Arch just to the north of Mass Ave, and then you have Lockerbie Square to the south. Now, Lockerbie Square happens to be the oldest residential neighborhood in Indianapolis. And when you go through there, you've got homes that look like it too. Some of them are a little bit rougher. I wouldn't say they're completely run down and to the point where they need to be torn down. It's not like that, but they're a little rougher. They show their age, but you got a lot of homes that have been renovated and pretty well kept. And then in Chatham Arch, some of the homes over there are a little bit bigger. They're older too, but have a little bit bigger and have a super cool feel and a lot of character to them. It's a different vibe than Meridian Kessler. When I say mature, and I'm thinking a little bit more of a, for the most part, an older crowd. And that doesn't mean like 80, 90 years old, anything like that, but certainly people in their 40s, 50s, 60s can make up Meridian Kessler. It doesn't mean you don't have people in their 20s and 30s in Meridian Kessler, but probably a few more people in Chatham Arch, place like that, in their 20s and 30s in comparison. So a little different vibe, and then Mass Ave also helps to maintain that slightly younger feel compared to a place like Meridian Kessler. So unbelievably cool neighborhoods for sure. Now you could also drive to any of these places like Mass Ave and not worry about going into Chatham Arch or Irvington and enjoy everything that Mass Ave has to offer because it's unbelievably cool, and it's one of my favorite places in all of Indianapolis. We love to go there for the restaurants, entertainment, just the cool vibe that it has. So there you go. Those are 5 super walkable, very popular neighborhoods in Indianapolis. But like I said, there are others. These are just the ones that come to my mind the most, and probably other people's minds too whenever somebody asks, what are some of the walkable neighborhoods in Indianapolis? I really want to live in some of those places. So if you have questions about walkability, bikeability, and just pedestrian friendly, or places packed with things to do, questions about any of those places, then make sure that you reach out. And until the next one, we'll see you later.